Okay. You went through the events calendar, got here? Okay. Didn't know you could do that. Alright. It wasn't your fault there, Chris. It was my fault. Alright, let's go ahead and look at the week ahead here. And oop. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. What I want to do is this. Nope. Okay. Uh, the herdier you go, the behinder you get, right? All right. Well, we'll just have to flail away here. I overwrote a file, so I really only have the intro slide. Crud. I'm screwing up by the numbers. No, I noticed a mistake on the title slide, so I tried to correct it. Did the last second, and then I overwrote the whole file. No big deal, but we'll wing it. All right. What I was going to show really was that we have economic events for the week. Empire State tomorrow at 8:30. That's the only item. Very, very light week, really. Housing market index at 10 a.m. We have the housing starts on Wednesday at 8:30. Petroleum report at normal 10:30 time. Thursday we've got our standard jobless claims. We got the Philly Fed and existing home sales at 10. And nat gas, I haven't seen the nat gas push the markets around in quite some time. So I'm not even sure how important that is. The one thing that is important is Friday is quadruple witching hour. It is the expiration of monthly, weekly options and the options on the futures. Okay, so we could get some pretty hairy moves out there. All right. Let's minimize that. Get that out of the way. Oh, you know what? I didn't cover earnings. Let me do that again. It's also in the same file. Very, very light week for earnings. None on Monday morning. Monday afternoon, we got FedEx and Oracle. Of course, these are filtered out for ones that have basically 400,000 shares or more and have a price greater than about 5. General Mills. Then we have nothing on Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. Then we have Red Hat on Wednesday afternoon. We've got the biggie is Darden on Thursday afternoon, and then Micron. Sorry, Thursday afternoon, but Thursday morning is DRI. Thursday afternoon is Micron, and nothing on Friday. Nothing of import at all. Okay, get that out of the way. Let's go straight to the futures. I'll do a big picture on what I'm seeing in the markets here. Here's crude oil. We basically did a rally, I think it was last Tuesday. And then we just basically stalled at 71. The stochastics RSI did not get up there. I thought we were going to potentially break out, but it basically rolled over early, and stuff like that happens. And we're basically holding the 68.25 oil It's now established a new trading range from about 67 to 71. So I'm going to look for a break above or below that level before we get to anything else. Gold is trying to bottom out this time pretty seriously. It did it once before around this 1225 level, and now we're trying to do it around the 1200 level. I don't know where gold is going. In the short term, my stochastics RSI tells me that we're likely to favor the downside a little bit, but unless we break below this 1190, I don't really know that we're in just a trading range from 1190 up to 1225. The volume point of control is around this 1225 level, and until we get over that, I'm not really interested in the long. Yeah, Oracle could, but since it's by itself, it all depends what guidance says or whatever for Oracle. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Nasdaq. Nasdaq is down 15 in the kind of late evening trade on Sunday. Stochastics RSI is pointing up, but we actually are pulling back. All the markets are pulling back a little bit tonight. But we're still kind of pointing upwards on the 8 and 17 exponential moving averages. The volume point of control is down here, 7410. We're really kind of between 7410 and I guess this is 7685. So we're kind of in that trading range at the moment. Russell was kind of lagging the rest of the indicators, but on Friday we had a rally after being kind of weak and not as bad as the others tonight. We're also in a trading range. We dipped below this 1713 level, but 1713's been a major area of support multiple times last week and the week before that. So that's a key level to watch so we get a close below it. We have ventured on the other side a few times, but we've never closed below it. And the upper boundary is somewhere around 1743. So let's watch for that. We're kind of in a trading range holding pattern. The Dow's down 40, but it's up near the top. Stochastics RSI points that it is getting a little long in the tooth, and we may want to try to pull back here. The VIX is not trading tonight, but on close on Friday it was down to 12. It does have an inverted hammer with stochastics down at the bottom, so a bit of a rise would not be out of the question. All right, let's pull those out of the way. And let's go over. I've only got 4 stocks that are potentially longs. I looked for shorts. I didn't see a lot that jumped out at me either on the short side. And then I do have one kind of, I'm going to call it a lesson learned. The CME here. Make sure we get back onto the daily. Whoops. Come on. Come on. There you go. Daily chart. It moved up to about 178, pulled back. It looks like anything over this, about the 175 at a quarter level, it could go back up to test this 178. The Signer Shoe Warehouse did a pullback and up. Night trucking is around about a breakout. I think that it wants to get up here into the high 38s. So stochastics RSI is curling up. And Sprouts Farmers Market, probably the best of those that I've shown tonight. And it did a move breakout up to 29.5, pulled back to 27.5. Showed that was going to be support. Stochastics RSI is curling up. Any positive trade on Monday, I think it goes back into the mid 29s again, or even higher. Back a while back when it did its earnings back here, it had 12% short. With the rally there, it's probably not 12% any longer. In fact, why don't we go see if there's an updated number? And yeah, 11.84% is the latest number that got updated. So came down to 1.5%. So right. All right, the lessons learned. I want to show everybody now Costco. I've been long Costco via leaps twice over the last year. I traded it fairly successfully, and bragging a little bit, for about 65% and about 82% on each of the two trades. This one does a very, very good job of basically following the little roller coaster up. This last little bit, it got a little bit ahead of itself, and I knew at some point along the way they were going to get some sort of downgrade, and they finally did, based on valuation on Friday. And my stochastics RSI was giving me a warning that the end of this little cycle was near. We did pull back. Stochastics RSI rolled over on Wednesday, followed down on Thursday. I covered a bear call spread 250 by 260, and made a couple of dollars already. I'm going to try to play it back down to this level. But what I wanted to point out is there are certain stocks, and Costco's one of them, that do a very good job of, let's get a pointer here. Let's turn the scanner off. Hold on, it's frozen. Okay. And let's get my crayon here. The stochastics RSI follows the little roller coaster here, and what happens is it will move up, let me get a better color. It moves up, then it rolls over and pulls back, although this is not a lot in number of days or in the grids, but each of these grids is $5. Then it will start to move up. It moved up, and then it went sideways along with price, and then it finally rolled over and pulls back, gives you another pullback, another entry opportunity or entry signal, or looking for one, and then it moved up quite substantially, and then it gave you a warning it might be time to exit. How do I use the stochastics RSI? Just a little free lesson here. I have an entire 2-hour presentation on how I use stochastics RSI, but the bottom line is I only use the stochastics RSI on these crossovers. I use 7733 as my parameters. They work on daily, weekly, hourly, 30-minute, and 15-minute charts very well. 30 and above, really well. The weeklies are less of a V shape and more rounded on the bottoms and rounded on the tops. And they give you the heads up that we're about to have a change in direction, and to go look up at the price to see if you could get either a breakout when you're coming up from the bottom or a breakdown sell signal. Do not use stochastics RSI as a buy-sell signal. Do not use it as a buy-sell signal. Use it as a warning signal to be looking for a buy or sell signal on price. All right. What I'm going to do real quick, let me take this down. I don't see anything on the futures markets right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a little Q&A. Sorry, do you have any questions so far on what I've discussed? Maybe the stochastics RSI or anything that's non-specific to a stock. Things that have been bothering you, not necessarily that I covered here tonight, but things you have general questions. I'll give it a second here. Wet my whistle. All right, so I don't see anybody typing away there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up in just a second after they're across. All right, I would like for you guys, if you have any questions on individual stocks, symbols, go ahead and post one out there, or one only, and tell me whether you're long, you're short, you're looking to go long, or looking to go short. So at least I talk in the direction that's of interest to you. I can't believe we don't have a bunch of people out there jumping all over it. All right. Thank Roger and Tom. Roger wants to look at ARW, looking for a long entry. ARW? Arrow? Well, the first thing that jumps out at me on Arrow is there are a ton of wicks here. I'm going to suspect that ARW has a bit of a spread to it. You're probably talking anywhere near 5 to 10 cent spread. I don't normally like those. Usually give the market a little bit of a head start. But regardless of that, let me back off here. I'm seeing what amounts to parallel line. We basically have a trading channel, a trading range. We're going up as high as maybe the 80s and as low as 75. Is this one going to go back up to 79 to 80 again? I don't know. It has been in the past. You could play that. You play that as a pattern, because it is a pattern until it's not. Do realize that it stopped at 78 a few times. So you may only have $1 in it. Where would your stop be? Doug's volatility stop is 75.5, which would mean that you're going to have to get all the way up to the high 70s here. Let's just say that only got to 79.70. That's $2.62 versus the volatility stop being $1.63. So you're a little bit under 2 to 1. But that would be an aggressive trade for me. I just normally don't like those. I'd either like to be going long closer to the bottom and going short somewhere closer to the top if I'm going to play the channeling trade, the trading range. And the fact that it exceeded that and it basically expanded its range on this last one. The old range was here and it went down to about 74.5. The range before exceeded itself by another $1 or so. So I don't know. It's really, one could say there that we've got an expanding cone or triangle right there. Don't know. Okay, let's look at the second one we want to look at. Tom D is RMD. ResMed. ResMed does have a little bit of a pop out of the box here. I would think that it might at some point do a pullback towards this $112 to $113 level and you get another buy signal over there. The other thing is it's doing right now is Did a wide range bar, sideways movement. If it moves up, it starts to trade up on Monday or Tuesday. This could be a 1-2-3 maneuver, a 1-2-3 move. One was the wide range bar move up, which really could include the last couple of days there. So basically those could be considered one move. We go sideways or basically that for 1 to 3 days. And then the third is the move up. You could be playing that. Stochastics RSI looks okay. And its history is not bad. Let's look at the area chart real quick. Yep, all-time high. So, yeah, I think that RMD could be a player there. Look to see. That's got medical instruments. Never mind. It may have some FDA type stuff news coming out, but okay. Let's look at VMall. Wants to look at CRM. One of my favorites. I think this one, if you're looking to go long, you are long or looking to go long, VMall. If you're already long, be careful. We've got my stochastics RSIs here up at the top. I grabbed it too fast. And we're getting kind of an indecision with the doji here. Watch for it to pull back. And if it pulls back to 154, it holds and then moves back up. It could be for a re-entry long, but you be careful. If you're already long, this one could be ready for some profit taking. You have to have your decisions whether you're going to ride it back down to the downside, and if so, where your stop is. I don't normally ride them down. Bob J wants to look at Tandem. Tandem is one of those where you get down to anywhere near the 8 or 17 exponential moving average. When it gets there and it bounces, you pull the trigger. Right now, I'm a little bit concerned about the fact that the balance of power has gone negative here, and we did have increases in negative BOP, and the volume picked up on the sell-off here. It still looks good for price, but these are warning symbols to be careful about. If you're looking to go long, see if it makes some sort of V-bottom and gives you a sell signal. If it breaks the 17, I'd be very careful and make sure that it gets back up over, say, this $48 level or so. And Cisco for Mel. Cisco's one of these just slow movers. It moved up here after earnings. This right in here was probably the play, as it went up from about 45 to about 48. Right now, I guess if we really wanted to look at it, let's see if we do a 2-day, 3-day, 5-day. I'm seeing that Cisco could pull all the way back there to 46 based on the weekly. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, the daily says it could probably pull back to here. Maybe these levels right there. It is curling up on the stochastics RSI. You can go long and let's see about if it does a retest of 48. The only difficulty is, where's the stop? If you're sitting here, let's just say you go long at 47.50 and you're looking for 48, that's 50 cents. Your stop is 50 cents. That's a 1-to-1. That's not exactly in my wheelhouse. You needed more of a V bottom. You need more of a V bottom to give yourself a good risk reward. Right now, it just did a gentle pullback and then a move up. The ideal long would have been closer to 47. So I don't know about the reward to risk. You're going to have to decide that one on your own, Mel. Bob M wants to look at AAOI because he's long. You're doing a counter trend trade. I'm not necessarily a fan of those. I do know that a lot of people that play them and they work out well. You're welcome, Mel. Down here, you're going to get a volatility flip if we go up. A concern is that the balance of power is negative. There could be a lot of sellers coming into this rally here. Now, if I were to invert this, okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it over here. Why am I not getting my charts to draw? All right, I'm doing the inverse of AAOI. Does that look like a flag pattern to you? Inverted, put a minus in front of it. Right now, the only place I know I can do that is in Thinkorswim. So I did negative AAOI, and it inverted it. If you can't see it this way, and that's every time I see this pattern right here, it's really the last 4 to 5 days of the move up. Stochastics RSI, it looks like it's probably going to complete. I put the minus. And now you see my stochastics RSI inverted as well. I'm recording this, Eric, as well. But there were 4 of them. Actually, the biggest one that was SFM, Sugar, Fox, Mike. That was the best one. All right. Let's go here. All right, that's AOI. And Sal C says he's long Facebook. If you're not long, I don't like Facebook in the longer term trend here. Let's go look at an area chart. That right there is not bullish at all to me. I do not like to try to pick bottoms. Make it do higher highs and higher lows. We're getting close to a potential double bottom, but I'm not a double bottom kind of guy. Okay, what I want to see myself is I want to see a higher high and a higher low above the prior swings, and then the difference between these two here. That means we will have changed direction. If you have trouble seeing that, put up a couple of moving averages. I use the 8 and the 17. The 8 and 17 to tell me we're no longer in this uptrend that we were in May to July. And until we actually get a change in direction, I would not be interested in going long, personally. So I cannot help you there. Potentially, if it double bottoms at 160 and breaks 168 and goes up here, it could be doing a higher high, higher low, but it does have all of this overhead resistance to be wary of. David BZ, XLE long. XLE is just in kind of a range here. And when in fact, we're probably looking at, let's create a parallel line. One could say that we did an excursion here. out of that area here, but we're in a downtrend. And even as it is, you've got to get over probably 75 before I'd be interested in XLE long. I really don't like it for long. On the other hand, if it gets up here around $75 and rolls over, I might be interested in a short to come back down to the 72.5 area. Raytheon. I used to work on Raytheon a few years ago. Let's look at the area chart real quick. Well, an entry would potentially be to the short side and not to the long side, David. XLE is in a downtrend. Make it change its character to up higher highs and higher lows. It's doing higher lows, but it needs to get over the 75 to 75.5 level first. All right, let's go back to Raytheon. Let's look at a 3-day chart. Raytheon's just kind of trying to bounce along the bottom. We go to the weekly chart. This one's also going to have to, it's got some work ahead of it before it's viable. Not a totally sold on its balance of power because it's all super negative. To me, that's the big buyers are trying to lighten up. If we go back and look at the area chart that we had up a few moments ago, Raytheon's been in a run since about 2012, about $40. Weekly. This one has actually changed character, and I should. Did you miss AAOI? Yes. Sorry. I'll go back over it real quick. Whoops. How do I keep grabbing? Probably grabbing it too soon. There was a bear flag. Went down, formed another bear flag, but it basically stopped when it got to this level over here. That acted as support, at least temporarily. So now what we need to do on Raytheon is I think it needs to break over this $204 level, make higher highs, higher lows, and the next level of resistance is probably around 212, 215, then 220 to 230 would be in the cards. But higher highs, higher lows, and this level right here are key to me in Raytheon. Stochastic RSI is a little on the overbought side, so I suspect it's going to ratchet itself up and down there. And again, that's on a weekly chart. Let's go to the daily. Come on, daily. All right. This area in there is going to act a little bit as resistance. If it gets over there, then you've got this little pocket here around 207, and then you can run to 212. So watch for a move over, say, 204, and it could be a move, but the move could potentially only be to 206. Yes, we covered the AOI pretty quickly. Remember, Bob, do you remember me showing the inverted chart, Bob? That's AOI. It's a bear flag. Stay away unless you're going to go short. All right. Raytheon. Do you mean Colgate Palmolive, JJ, or are you're not looking at? Sorry, not JJ. Al, you looking at Colgate Palmolive, or are you looking at crude oil? Colgate. Okay. This one basically has changed character. EMAs are pointed up, and also Bob M. Look at the exponential moving averages are pointing down on AAOI as well. So Colgate is pointing up. Let's go back onto the daily here, the regular chart. Go to a 3-day chart. And a weekly. Boy, this is Colgate's very difficult because of what we've got over here to the left. This right here is going to act as resistance. The biggest move in Colgate's probably already behind us. The move from about 64 to 68. Now it's going to be a big grind. Put it on your watch list and see if it gets over 72. Then a move to 75 to 78 will be probably fairly fast. I would wait. It's going to take quite a while to get through there. That's the weekly chart. The daily chart, let me back off from what I just said. That's on the weekly. Yeah, you've got all this stuff over here to the left. It's going to have trouble. It's not going to be a fast one. I'm not going to change my mind there. Mark T wants to look at Yum Short. Okay, is that one that I missed? Oh. And I'm going to ask Mark, why would you want to short a strong stock? I would say that just because something is long and gives a sell signal for those who are long, that's not necessarily a signal to go short in my book. This right here is giving a warning signal to exit with any profits you have, but I don't see a short yet. A short's going to have to make lower highs and lower lows. So the opposite of what we were talking about before, you're going to need for Yum or any other stock to make a lower low, a lower high, and another lower low. Kind of a zigzag pattern to the downside. This has only been making zigzag patterns to the upside. Now, is this a potential double top? We won't know really until we get below 87. That would be the first lower low. And then we need for it to fail with a lower high. So keep your eye on it. It might be, but right now I don't see it. Lockheed Martin long since the 12th. I guess it's Wednesday. There's a lot of congestion in your take area. Yeah, but let's see on the daily. Oh, I don't see congestion here. What I see is this wide range bar here. I see that as a void. Consider yourself a great entry. Trail it. At some point along the way, you may want to take some partial profits if you can. But I see this going up to 355 to 360. That would be my target. right there. You do have some of this over to the left, but if it goes up over this 336 this week, it's ignoring all this stuff to the left. That's the way I read it. Now, stochastics, RSI, and BOP are not necessarily giving me any warm fuzzies. They're just kind of bouncing along. But price is king. Steel, but Cliff. Okay. Steel, because of tariffs, are going to be a little bit skewed based on fundamentals. Cleveland Cliffs, it basically doesn't provide the coke and stuff that's required to make the steel. So it's still doing quite well. I think they think there's going to be more steel produced here in the United States now, which will increase their business maybe. Now, that's all fundamental stuff. You brought up the fundamentals first. What I'm seeing here is a zigzag pattern to the upside. Right there. And right now I don't see the downside. Now, we were quite negative on balance of power. We have not flipped over to positive yet. We are getting a rally. And stochastics RSI is just kind of bouncing along near the top. It can stay there for quite a while. Your only problem is if you say you were in it long, risk and reward. Well, if you're looking to go long, or you're already long. If you're already long, great. Figure out where your stop is. If you're looking to go long, I was about ready to say the reward to risk, you have to figure out where your stop's going to be. An aggressive stop would be 1090 or so, but a more conservative would be 1040. That's about $1 below where we're at the moment, $1.10. So you're going to need to be counting on a couple of dollar move. And it's up there at around 1150, which is the last prior swing high on a weekly. It could top out right about here or go sideways. Watch this 1150 on Cliff. Okay, I am going to put the no more symbols, please. If it's a symbol that's already posted, you need to qualify it. That's a different story. Yeah, I lost track of where I was on Cliffs. I'm sorry. Hedson Company, so just got here. Okay. You're not talking about Sunoco. Karen's asked a question about. Okay, let's look at the stocks that I was looking at real quick. 4 stocks I thought I was CME as a break over 174 potentially. We don't have a whole lot of longs here. KNX a roundabout a breakout. I'm looking for a move to 39. SFM is the best one. It retested the 2750 and I think it goes to J-hook higher. And DSW, watch to see what happens if it does off of this hammer on Friday. And you wanted to know my volume. Okay. I'm going to have trouble in this black. Let me take it to something that is heavily traded. That one's. All right. The volume and price here, your question was, why do I have them? They basically act as, targets, support, and resistance. They work really well on the indices and on the futures. SPX won't work, Steve. Come on, doesn't have volume. SPY would work. You can see where they are. They're a bit faint here tonight. I'm not sure why. The volume point of control is all the way down at 271. The next levels would be, they basically correspond and give me an idea to start looking at where price levels were. Let's show you where the S&P E-minis, we've got some levels here that we're trying to get through. Let me show it on a 3 month. Now you can see it fairly well. If we do a pullback, the first level is going to be down to here. I use those as potential support levels. I use the volume point of control. I use it and try to match up a combination of volume level and price levels. And let's see, NASDAQ, that's where the 7410 comes in, and Raytheon, I keep saying Raytheon, it's RTY. Russell at 7413 got me started originally before we got up here over it. That was the corresponding highs over here to the left, and then a wobble here before it broke through in August. That's really where I try to use them. Primarily on the big stocks where they have large volume, but it could work at others as well. Okay. Let's look at VLO. I was in VLO before but got out after it did the big run. What's it doing now? I think it's really in a trading range. We had a trading range before. Now we have a new one established basically from about 115 to 122. I don't think I could play it. Just not my cup of tea. I'm not very good at playing those. I normally like the V-bottoms. I like J-hooks, like we had on a 3-day chart back here. What I normally like to see, strong move up. I'm really getting upset with this. I know I punched the red. Move up, retracement, making sure that it's somewhere around the 50% level or less, and then trade to move up. Okay, I'll get that in just a second, Eric. Scott Perry, the cliff, watch out if you can get on cliff. If it breaks out, watch out. We have levels over here to the left as high as 12, but you're going to get a wobble at some point. And my problem is, where would you put your stop? $10.50 or $10, maybe even below $9.50. Depends on how much you give them room for. Danny wants to know if I do IPOs. I'll give a look at it, but no, I don't normally do IPOs. Definitely with only 2 days, no. That would be intraday trading. There's a 15-minute chart, 30-minute chart. It's probably I guess if you could get it over the 11 or something or whatever, but there are better charts out there that have good history other than NIO. To be honest with you, it might end up being a fantastic company, but the stock doesn't have enough history for me to really make a educated comment. Last one of the night's going to be Eric on the Thinkorswim platform. Let's get this out of the way. Let's bring back up Thinkorswim. How do you get the volume profile like that? What you do, let me see if I can bring up the other one. No, it won't work. Oh, wait a minute. All right. We got here our go to studies. Left click, add study. Could actually go to edit studies. That's probably better. It'll do the pop up in the little box here. Do volume profile. And it's right down here. You left click on it to go over here under the sprocket. Hope you're following along, otherwise it'll be in the recording. And where are we? Show point of control, show value area. Wait a minute. It's volume profile here. Everything is standard. Automatic. On expansion. Yeah, balance and power is proprietary to TC2000 Al. On expansion, you need to set to no. I'll give it to you in just a minute, Sal. On expansion, if you have it to yes, it'll put everything on the far right-hand side, and it will not overlap the chart. In my opinion, that makes it unusable. Okay, and then we go down to show point of control. Make sure that's on yes, that's a default. And I put the opacity to 30 so that it stays in the background and the chart stays in the foreground. All right, so those are pretty much my parameters. Not much different from standard. Okay, how to access the recording. Let me get this out of the way. I get you the link. It's YouTube. My channel. And if you subscribe to it, you'll get anything that I produce. Primarily right now, I'm moderating the futures, so you'll see everything that I've got pretty much with the futures. But if you go to the videos, now you have to give me a bit to render this and post it, but you'll see daily market previews back here when I was doing those. Look at the week ahead. You can see some stuff. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. You'll see some trading rules, my presentation on how to trade gaps, to look at the week ahead, they were all. Most of this is going to be futures related, though. Because I am the moderator of futures room. If you want to find out a little bit about me and my room here, you can go there. We pretty much we've done about 125 to 130% on our return on investment since the 1st of May. So we more than doubled our money. We try to take very conservative approaches. We do take losses. We do have losing days and weeks. Not very many losing weeks. Obviously, try to do it a little close to the vest. All right. Anybody have any other questions for tonight? This is going to be an interesting week. We don't have a lot of economic events. We're probably going to be news driven. That means tweet driven. All right, folks. Have a good one. If anybody wants to look at the... Let me maybe hang loose 1 second. We do have a trial, 30-day trial for only $14 for either the hit and run candlesticks or right way options. Doug is probably the best options trader that I've ever come across. That would be $14 money well spent. And if you think that I've done well doubling my money since May, Rick has tripled his money and then some since December, 1st of January. What were the two picks? They're not just two, they're two or more. I would really hope that they would remove that from now on. Pick number 1 is SFM. You remember hearing that one, Mark? Remember we went out there, we looked at it, was just over 11% short interest right now. Okay. And the other one was to watch for DSW. Basically, it did a gap up here, and it just did about a 50% retracement. We've got a hammer on Friday, good bop. The stochastic RSI at the bottom. We'll watch for a move up, and it does need to keep moving up. But those are the two out of the 3 that I was showing. All right. I'm going to stop the recorder. If you give me about 30 to 40 minutes, I'll have the recording up on the YouTube site. You guys have a good one. Be safe and come back and visit us next week. Aloha.